Four lessons from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. But first, listen to Steve Harvey.
Stay safe, Jamaica. Come on, man. I love you. I'm sending this message to you with much peace, okay? Hey, Jamaica, listen, this is your man, Steve Harvey. I understand what's going on in the United States. This COVID-19 has gotten out of hand, is very bad, and it could do the same thing to my beloved Jamaica. Please be careful over there. You have got to practice social distancing. Stay away from each other. Quarantine, stay in the house. Stay home, stay safe. But you have got to wash your hands. Wash your hands continually. Stay safe, Jamaica. Come on, man. I love you. I'm sending this message to you with much peace, okay? Take care of yourselves. Be safe now. Don't let it happen to y'all like it's happened to us. Stay at home.
You might ask the question, for those who may not know, who is Steve Harvey? Now, Steve Harvey was born Broderick Stephen Harvey. He's an American comedian, businessman, and entertainer. He hosts the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud, the Miss Universe competition, and Fox News New Year's Eve. Harvey is a multi-millionaire. You can easily classify him as a billionaire. So for him to take time out from his busy schedule and speak directly to Jamaica, that is greatness in itself. Now let me explain to you, what is the Spanish flu of 1918 in comparison of COVID-19 2020? Take a listen. This is very, very important. Now let's start with lesson number one. Lesson number one. It's very important for you to listen. Here's the first. As devastating as the current pandemic may be, the Spanish flu pandemic remains the worst in world history by far, said East Thomas Ewing, a history professor at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. By the time three waves of Spanish flu swept across the globe in 1918 and 1919, at least 50 million people were dead, including 675,000 Americans. By comparison, flu pandemics in 1957, 1968, and 2009 claim an estimated total of 225,000 Americans and 3 million people worldwide. Here is the second lesson. The key difference between 1918 and the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. Then they didn't even know it was a virus, Ewing said. There had been decades of research on microbes, so they understood that it was transferred person to person through respiratory drops by coughing and sneezing. But viruses weren't discovered until 1930s because they didn't have powerful enough microscopes. As a result, testing wasn't just hard to come by, it simply did not exist. Spanish flu was also more infectious than COVID-19, caused symptoms much faster, and was far more deadly, Nichols said. And unlike COVID-19, which poses the greatest risk to the elderly, Spanish flu targeted the young. It affected everyone, young and old, Nichols said, but it disproportionately killed the healthiest among us, the All-American 22-year-old football player, the strongest lumberjack. People in their prime were getting struck down very quickly, so the fear that animated people in the fall of 1918 was qualitatively different. The third lesson, despite those differences, the parallels between 1918 and 2020 are still striking. In both cases, there was no vaccine and no treatment for the disease, along with an overriding fear that the besieged healthcare system might crack. And here's takeaway or lesson number 4. In both pandemics, the most effective immediate response was and is social distancing. It was called crowding control back then, he said. But whatever you call it, limited contact worked in 1918 and it works today. And the fastest comprehensive closure and social distances are put into place, the quicker a pandemic can be brought under control, Nichols said. Those who lived through the Spanish flu learned that lesson the hard way, according to Caroline Orban, a medical anthropologist at the University of Missouri in Columbia. As with all pandemics in 1918, you had a tension between biological reality and socio-economic reality, she said. Biology is not changeable, but behavior is. So, yes, social distances was absolutely a thing in 1918, and where it was practiced, it works. Now, Jamaica, before I give you my part to this, let me keep you up to date as to the stats and what is happening worldwide with COVID-19 2020. Let's take a look at Little Jamaica. To date, May 6, 2020, the confirmation stands at 478 people confirmed to have been affected by the COVID-19. 56 people recovered and 9 people are dead. Worldwide, we have 3.78 million plus 71,431 people that are confirmed affected by this virus. 1.26 million people have recovered, and death stands at 265,000 plus 4,102 persons. This is not a joke. This is serious. Now, Jamaica, you heard from Steve Harvey. He took time out to join force with the Wellness and Health program in Jamaica. The stalwart is Dr. Christopher Tufton, and we have to big him up for the hard work that Mr. Tufton is doing. But as hard as Mr. Tufton work, it will never work unless we as Jamaicans put our shoulders to the wheel. Forget about partying for a while. Stay home if there's no need for you to be on the streets, and practice physical distancing. Now, I lost a friend of mine recently in the community of Enfield, St. Mary. Next week, Wednesday, I was supposed to drive into St. Mary, Enfield, and do a grave digging for the family of Godsmore. But can you imagine, in the last couple of days, 16 people from St. Mary, close to Enfield, Dover, and Anata Bay, have been affected and contracted the COVID-19 disease. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know that comes to an halt. I cannot next week go to Enfield St. Mary, relax with my friends, and have a wonderful time during the day, and get home back to Kingston before 6 p.m. The place is under quarantine. Nobody is allowed to go in Enfield unless you actually live there. Nobody is allowed to go into Dover or Anata Bay unless you actually live there. There are police and soldiers on the street manning these posts to make sure that we control the spread of this disease. Now, if Steve Harvey, an American legend, can take time out and beg us Jamaican, because he loved Jamaica so much, he begged us here in Jamaica to stay at your yard and practice social distancing or physical distancing. And to certain habits, I know I'm a party man. I like to go out. I like to have a good time. I like to hear reggae music play. I like a couple of cold beers and, a couple of drinks with my friends. I like to thumb fist. I like to smoke a joint with my friends. But I can't. I can't do that now because I'm making the supreme sacrifice. Not just for me, but for my fellow Jamaicans. I want every one of you to be very careful, to be very serious. A lot of people are saying, it's not going to affect me. I drink this, I drink that. We don't know the true possibilities of this virus. We don't know. We don't know where this virus comes from. We don't know exactly what it is capable of doing. Because as you know, this virus might mutate or changes as it moves along. Our only bet to stem this is to make sure we practice social distancing. It worked in 1918, and I can bet your bottom dollar in 2020. If you wear a mask and you practice social or physical distance, as I like to say, or Muta Baruka like to say, or Kabu Mahat Heru like to say, we can beat this monster. Jamaicans, be safe. I love you from all my heart. And that's why I'm bringing you the facts. Tana your yard. A big stone says, I love you.